Earth date, Eastern Hemisphere, 12th of December 2024. Today we're heading northwest from Wanganui to drop in on another one of New Zealand's classic volcanoes, Mount Taranaki. It's a currently dormant stratovolcano, having last erupted in about 1755. It's very distinctive on satellite images of New Zealand for the circular forested zone centred on the peak of the mountain with cleared farmland outside of that area. An interesting side note is that Taranaki, more correctly Taranaki Maunga, has the status in New Zealand as a legal person, and yes, I mangled that pronunciation. The problem for us is that Taranaki is often cloaked with clouds, so you have to be lucky to get a clear view of its classic form. But if you don't try, then you won't succeed, so we're going to try.
He's on the road again, heading off to Taranaki Mount which is another nice conical volcano, and regarded as the Mount Fuji of the Southern Hemisphere. It's regarded as dormant, but still capable of erupting. Another video of a bridge parapet river. I think that's the Pattaya River. And this is Pattaya.
And then go out barefooted because then confiscate tissues.
Well, you see all these signs. It says bridge dairy or something dairy. I think a dairy in New Zealand is what we call a deli in Australia. All this cultural stuff that you'd never find out otherwise. Very British looking market square clock there, except it's not in a market square, but quite nice, isn't it? So where are we? Land Pro, no, that's not the name of the town. Wasn't paying attention, don't know where we are. Stratford. Spain.
As we get closer, it's becoming apparent that today is not going to be a good day to see Taranaki in all his glory.
Whereas when I was running the factory, for each day in the factory.
Okay. This is where we've just, if you look on the map, we've just entered the big green circle that is around the exclusion zone in National Park around Mount Egmont.
Can't tell how it looks slippery.
It's narrow and slippery here, and a bit later on it'll probably become narrow, steep and slippery. So this is sort of more or less the top of Mount Taranaki. I think there's more peak to the right there, and there may even be some lingering snow, but we haven't seen that. So yes, not an ideal day to visit one of the iconic volcanic cones in the world, but I've got a YouTube video to make, so I have to put together some stuff to give you some idea at least. The worst thing is the weather report says it's going to be clearing tomorrow, but we will be several hundred kilometres. Well, bearing in mind the mountain's not going to play. Just play the tourist. I don't know this guy. This is sort of replica of one of the mountain huts. Steal some of their footage there. We reckon this guy is drunk a bit too much. He's a bit legless. Crop that and pretend I took it. I mean, bearing in mind the climate is to get up here on a modern bitumen road, the first car up on a dirt road, 1905, and it's definitely not a Land Cruiser. Instead of just rabbiting pointlessly on, I should at least tell you that we're at Dawson Falls Visitor Centre, and I might walk down and have a look at the falls, because at least the clouds won't matter then. have one of the carved poles here, whose proper name I keep forgetting. Not real good light to video it in, but it's big. I like the way they like 360 degree. Doing the walk down to the base of Dawson Falls. Everybody else chickened out. I don't have my raincoat because I couldn't get the tailgate open. So just the brave amongst us. Love this rainforest here on the slopes of the mountain. It's absolutely bloody gorgeous. Let me just do the high speed zoom out. I mean, copper, look at that. And the epiphytic ferns. It's beautiful. Yes, I don't know whether I mentioned before, but the weather report says the weather tomorrow will be quite clear, but we can't come back tomorrow. Track. If anybody's watching this and using it as sort of a bit of a visitor's add to listing, this is very steep. But I'm not young and with a slightly knackered hip, and I think I'll manage to climb back up again. I better, otherwise I'll sit down here soggy and whimpering. As I was saying before, quite steep. Soggy puddles in the ferns. The good thing about the soggy weather is we've got the place to ourselves. Base of the falls. Here for the long climb back up again. So if anybody ever asks, that staircase is 136 steps, and then we've got the semi-natural ones here. So the total climb is 241 steps, and I made it. So back in the car, off to our next location. And there is snow up on Taranaki, just before the clouds hide it again.
This is what Taranaki looks like on a nice day. This is a public domain picture and there was no author's name to credit, otherwise I would. And this one is one by me from another trip where we didn't go near Taranaki, but the skies in the area are clear.
Sort of seeing a bit here and a bit there. It's sort of like a mountain striptease. Clouds are set very low. Really, it's going to be wonderful tomorrow. It's along the coast again. This is the Mokau River. We're right on the Shook coast, so it's tidal. Pulled in for a leg stretch and a bit of a look at the waves. Black beaches, I think they're volcanic beaches along here. Kino. So, as I was just saying, this is called
Kino Beach.
Kino Beach. It's black volcanic sand beach. See those little huts and jetties. I do not know yet what they are for. Go right around over there. The river goes around the base of that hill, and those little huts are all the way around.
Spectacular.
There's nowhere to stop.
That is usually
Actually on the right hand side as well.
usually the truth of just about anywhere worth taking a picture of. Let's pull the screeching hole from this valley with the cliffs here on the banks of the Mangataki River. I'm trying to read the sign up there and I can't read it without my glasses. This is certainly not clear mountain streams in this area of the world. This is just below all those cliffs.
Yeah.
There's a fire station currently arguing about.
Oh no! Oh,
What?
Jan, you didn't tell me.
What?
Nearly went past it.
Tonight we're staying out in the sticks at a place called Pio Pio. Tomorrow we'll make our way to Rotorua, one of the biggest areas of tourist interest in New Zealand besides Queenstown. You can see from the GPS trace that we got a bit lost. Thanks Google Maps, but that's a farm track, not a road.
On the road again, just left Pio Pio and our way to Tirau to have a look at some iron sculptures, or I'm quite sure. Find out when we get there. Just going through Rotorua. Just so as you know where we are. Got council office. Add that to my collection of council offices I've got pictures of. going to see a river again, and just going across this dam.
He waited for you.
It's quite a... So here we are in Tirau, which has sort of made itself a bit famous for these steel buildings in the shape of animals. And that's about the size of the tongue on any bloody dog. A couple more here. These ones are sheep-shaped. Fingers. What do I put it there? It's a chiggy bait. It's these are the only buildings, but there are other sort of creations in town out of steel. Angela's hiding in the doorway over there because Andy's over the road trying to get photographs, doing sort of artistic-y stuff. He doesn't want us in the picture. Iron creation there, standing in a driveway. So we've just noticed that this must take the world record for the number of cafes in a small town. Speaking of the iron flowers up there, but so far we've passed about 10 cafes. And then small up there, I think that's about it. But they advertise the place as famous for the buildings. It should be famous for the cafes. The coffee had failed to get a croissant on our way to our next destination. The Waimangu Volcanic Valley. And the first thing that greets you is all these beautiful tree ferns. And for international people watching this, these are not palm trees. These are actually ferns. They're called tree ferns, and they, like in Tasmania, they grow very tall. But I don't know whether these are cyathias or dixonias. It's a statue of an moku. This whole landscape has changed since 1886. There used to be volcanic terraces here, and when it all sort of went up, all that got destroyed. It's sort of reforming, steaming and everything down there. This is called the Emerald Pool, but I didn't know emeralds were sort of brown like that. The film on the top is sphagnum moss and algae. Thank you for the prompt.
It's standing in front of the sign.
It's so late. Ground in it, steaming away. We've got a tourist helicopter buzzing around. There are 16 craters in this chain, and they all formed on a single day in 1886 or something. A massive eruption. And if the helicopter shuts up and buggers off, I'll try and get the sound best bubbling going on in this lake. It's bubbling up over there, as you can see where the bank's sort of been eroded away. And all these noisy aeroplanes and helicopters and stuff. See terraces forming there, and when it's quiet and there's no aeroplanes or anything, you can actually hear it bubbling down there. I don't know if the microphone should pick it up if I shut up.
131 degrees Fahrenheit. Real.
It was actually quiet when I started this video, but it's bubbling quite ferociously. Quite up against this bank, I think. Got a shot of these terraces forming over there. A distinct hydrogen sulfide aroma here. One of the statistics they had up the top is this is evidently the world's biggest hot spring. I don't know how disputable that is. This is the outflow of this particular lake. And then the rest of the channel. I have to move it a bit because it will take a long time. At 55 degrees Celsius, there would be no trout in this stream. Wannabe irrigator, diesel, whatever, bushes here, but we can't see it from this car park in the boat. It's $80, I don't think I want to do that. This is the Inferno crater. Can't go over the steps. I'm not counting them today, but something's got my chest up. Just a funeral, or I don't know what the technical term is.
This isn't a car park, it's new mineral terraces being formed.
Interested in the final video to see if you can hear the puffer over there, especially over the aeroplane. Move it to bus stop 2. And we're going to pack it in here. Most of the walk just seems to be down to the lake, which I'm not wildly interested in, and I don't want to push my hip too far. Okay, on our way. Caught that with some time. I only had to wait about 5 minutes. Back for a Coke Zero and an ice cream.
These are the volcanic terraces that used to exist. They were destroyed in the 1886 Mount Taranaki eruption. This is the giant Waimangu geyser. It started erupting in 1900 and ceased in 1904. It was the largest geyser recorded, with its eruptions reaching 400 to 450 metres. The new valley after the eruption. Note that you can't see Lake Rotorua because although it's a natural lake, it didn't exist in its present form until some years after the eruption. We then headed for our final destination of the day, Rotorua. No interesting stuff once we got there, just get fuel, shopping and find our accommodation. Join us in the next video when we'll take a closer look at more of the thermal features of the area. Until then, you can help out with the comment, like and subscribe stuff, and we'll see you in the next video.